Hi, so this is really a strange image. I don't particularly like it, but I find some of the associations interesting. So it looks a bit like a face at the bottom with, I don't know, something growing out at the top, or a bizarre helmet. And I'd done this one, I'd written on the back, mal de debarquement syndrome, which is a posh French way of saying sickness on disembarkation usually from a ship, but some wise folk like myself also get it travelling on trains and aeroplanes. And essentially it just means that you feel as if you're still on a boat when you're not. Your body's constantly trying to right itself, and sometimes you might fall over. And for some people this lasts for a month or longer, and it can also be a permanent side effect of travel. So I drew the picture, but then I was listening to a podcast where it mentioned that Walter Benjamin had talked about seasickness on dry land, and actually that was a quote from Kafka. We'll talk about the picture and then see what time I've got left. So there's the picture. It looks like maybe someone's got an injured eye, which is likely related to mythology. Then in the middle, I kind of saw this as like one character on the right carrying the other character across, in doing so forming an X shape. And then almost like a mask shape on top, but also figures there. And upside down, like a face looking at us with a funny hat on, possibly an A in their neck. Actually looks like AI. So in Illuminations, Walter Benjamin says, talking about Kafka, on the contrary, it's actual by virtue of this very oblivion, an experience deeper than that of an average person can make contact with it. I have experience, we read in one of Kafka's earliest notes, and I am not joking when I say that it is a seasickness on dry land. He then said it's no accident that the first meditation was made on a swing. Now, I've heard of this idea of a swing multiple times, particularly in association with witchcraft. The guy who opened the museum down in Boscastle writes about it, I think, in one of his books. So the book or the story that Benjamin's referring to is description of a struggle. And he's describing like there's two characters in a church, the praying man and the fat man. The fat man accuses the praying man of being the bearer of a disease with which he himself admits to being familiar. He calls this disease a seasickness on dry land. Its symptom is the inability to remember the truthful names of things, which leads to the compulsive effort to invent ever new names for them. For instance, the victim can't recall the word poplar, and so instead names the tree the Tower of Babel, and then, having forgotten that name, also calls it Noah in his cups. Now, I know there's another reference to poplar that I came across recently, but it also came up in association with the Fool, which I was talking about yesterday. It's interesting, this forgetting the names of things is also a symptom that people report from chronic fatigue. So I was just really intrigued because this is documented in literature a long time before I think it became a diagnosis, but also seems to point to this ethereal connection. If only my head was less wobbly, I might be able to make sense. Thanks for listening.